All right, ladies, we're back for another episode on the Weight Loss for Women 40 Plus podcast. Now, what I'm talking about today is how to lose your next 10 kilograms. Everyone wants to lose 1 kilogram. Most people want to lose 5. Majority of people want to lose 10, and the number just keeps going and going, all the way up to 50, 60, 70 kilograms. That's the spectrum in which we work with our clients. So you might be here trying to find the answer. How the hell do I lose these 10 kilograms that are giving me grief? So let's go through it and let's break it down. So this is going to be a 3-part series. First, we're going to go through the food. Second, we'll go through the exercise. And third, we're going to go through the metabolism and the sleep. If you don't have these 3 things right, you're going to find it virtually impossible to see any sort of progress. So I want to give you the whole shebang, how we make this thing work. So today's going to be more on the food side of things. Because I'm actually doing a couple of presentations for our clients, it's fresh in my mind. And I think, you know what? Our ladies that listen to the podcast and the YouTube channel, they're probably going to get a lot of benefit from this as well. So you get this one straight from the horse's mouth. That is moi. Okay, so let's talk about the food side of things. This is where we will see on virtually all of our calls, people get stuck. We'll speak to 50 to 80, 90 new potential clients every single week. They're inquiring about the program, wanting to find out more. And I always ask, okay, tell me right now, with the current situation, what is the biggest challenge? 9 times out of 10 is going to come from the food. How much to eat, when to eat, and what to eat. So the how is probably one of the more interesting. Like, how much should I be eating for my current goal? Now, you can't give a blanket one-size-fits-all answer because everybody is completely different. Yes, all of our ladies are female. Yes, all of them are over the age of 40. But that is about where the buck stops when it comes to differences. Similarities. The differences are very vast. What they do for work, how many hours of work they do, how many kids they have, or responsibilities they have with their kids, full-time, part-time, sports, practice, adult sport, your training, going to the gym, things that you like to do on the weekend, blah, blah, blah. The fucking list is endless. So this is where people get stuck. How much food should I be eating? So I'll give you a couple of round numbers. I would like to see the majority of our clients start between 1,300 to 1,500 calories. Now, that number can go up very quickly depending on how much activity that you do. But the reason, hear me out, the reason we start around 1,300 to 1,500 calories is because 99 times out of 100, y'all ain't tracking food properly. So you actually don't even fucking know how much you're eating. So how are we meant to get you the numbers if you don't know how much you're currently eating right now? So most people aren't tracking, or they're not tracking correctly. Now, this is not something we make all of our clients do because tracking isn't for everybody all the time. There's, you can take photos of your food. You can tell your coach what you had. There's many ways you can write it down on a bit of paper. Hey, I had this. Having meal plans, having the coach create a meal plan for you. So it's like completely calorie counted already. So all the recipe ingredients have already been counted and you just follow the plan. So there's a couple of ways that you can get a good idea of what people are eating. But the reason we start between 1,300 and 1,500 calories, is because 90% of our clients are not eating enough of the right things. Most people are trying things like, I'm just going to skip breakfast, or I'm going to try intermittent fasting, or I'm going to have no dinner, or I'm just going to have a very small dinner and have a medium-sized breakfast and lunch. Like, people get all these weird ideas in their head. So everyone's doing some weird shit before they come to us. They're trying different things, and it's not your fault. If you're like, oh my God, I'm doing weird shit that Josh said, it's okay. You're probably doing the best with what you got. And I was the same when I first started. I knew fuck all about food. I remember going down to the Blaney pool. So we lived in Blaney, the leisure centre, that's what they called it. Had a pool, indoor basketball court and gym. Talking to the guy at the front desk, who I now realise was a fucking idiot and didn't know anything. But I was also a fucking idiot and I didn't know anything and I knew less than him. So when you know less than someone else, they sound smarter than you listen to them. And he's like, yeah, you know what? When you're eating your protein, you just got to take all the fat off. You can't eat the fat. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that kind of makes sense. And you're in better shape than me, so I'm going to listen to him. Dumb mistake. So I started to get this complex around lean meat. Like, I couldn't eat steak with fat on it. I couldn't have chicken with skin on it. I trimmed the fucking fat off everything. But I didn't know any better. I was like, well, you're in greater shape than me, so I'm just going to do what you did. But he was a fucking idiot, now that I realize much, many years on. So, between 13 and 1500 calories, because most people are not eating enough food. They're, like I said, they're doing dumb things. And if you are over the age of 40, you have to eat enough to stimulate the metabolism. Think about it. When you're in your 20s, could you pretty much eat anything that you wanted to? And maybe the repercussions were there, maybe they weren't. But most people I talk to in their 20s, they could kind of get away with eating whenever they wanted, eating whatever they wanted, and minimal amounts of activity. And they didn't look absolutely awful. Now that's not everybody's story. It's quite a common story. That was for me growing up. I was like, oh yeah, do what I want when I want. What I've realized after me and my team have worked with more than 1,500 ladies, we have learned a lot of things. And we have learned what not to do at the top of the list. Obviously, we have also learned the few things that you need to know to lose weight if you're over the age of 40. But we've also learned what not to do. Skipping meals and fasting is in that category. It is based off hundreds, 1,500 client case studies, as in we test it with our clients, see what happens, test the result. And we've done that over years and years and years and years to boil down just to a couple of simple things. And it's what I'm telling you today. So start tracking your food. I guarantee when people think they're eating like 1,500 calories, a lot of times they're either eating way over 1,500 or way under 1,500. They're just guessing. So just get your scales out one day, kitchen scales, and just weigh some random shit. It doesn't have to be the whole day, but just weigh some shit. And you'll realize 200 grams of chicken, I weighed it out, what I thought was 200 grams of chicken, and it's actually under 100 grams. And you see these ladies that are like chronically under eating on protein and calories, and they're wondering why they have low energy and they don't feel good. So that's an easy one. So between 13 and 1,500 calories, because most people have gone from under eating or not eating enough due to fear of food or dumb trainers at gyms like mine trying to tell you the wrong thing, but they're trying to tell you the right thing, but it's actually the wrong thing. And then what happens is now you're just under eating. So if you've gone from under eating, skipping meals and fasting, and then you go and eat 1,800 calories, you're not going to be able to do it. You'll feel like it's way too much food. You'll have fucking psychological issues kicking in, like, oh my God, I'm going to gain weight. So we find a nice, healthy point is what I told you earlier. How many of those calories? 1,300 to 1,500. Really good place to start. So we're going to do that. And we're going to do it across 3 meals. We don't need to eat 5 meals, not 7 small meals to boost your metabolism. That's dumb as shit. All you're doing is digesting food too regularly. Like you're filling up your stomach way too often. It's just a pain in the ass. Nobody has time to eat 7 meals a day. You don't get 7 breaks. Breakfast, morning tea, lunch, afternoon tea, dinner, and then 2 others in between there somewhere. Like nobody gets that amount of time off for work. It's just not feasible. You can't do it on the weekend. Nobody's going to remember that. So 3 meals, we do 3 meals, because we need something in the morning to start helping out with the metabolism and the energy. Remember, if you're low on energy and you're under eating and fasting, of course you're low energy. Energy comes from food. If you don't eat enough food, you don't have enough energy. Problem solved for 90% of people's energy problems. So 3 meals spaced no more than 6 hours apart. Like you don't really want to be having breakfast at 8 and then what's 6 hours ahead of that? That'd be 2. Yeah, that'd be 2 p.m. So, let's go back now. You don't want to have breakfast at 7, lunch at 1, and dinner at 7. That's ideal. Sorry, fucking mixing up my words. That's ideal. 7, 1, and 6 or 7. That's pretty good. If you start spacing your meals out more than 6 hours apart, then what happens is you start to get cravings and get hungry way earlier. So you probably find, who finds that when they get cravings, it's never cravings for the right food. I can't say I've ever fucking craved broccoli in my life. I've craved, healthy juices and stuff like that, but I've never craved salads and broccoli. So what tends to happen is if your meals are too far apart, you now do dumb shit. You start making decisions based on hunger and where you are right now and your cravings. And this is where binge eating, snacking starts to creep in and it tips people over their calories. So that's the rule number 2. Rule number 2 is eating no more than 6 hours apart during the day. Nighttime's different story. Have your last meal whenever, 6, 7, 8 p.m., and then have breakfast the next day around 7. That's a nice and easy way to do it. Cool. That's when. When to eat, how much to eat, what to eat. Okay, last one, what. The what's very simple. As long as 30% of your calories, so let's just use some even numbers. You're eating 1,500 calories in a day. We want 30% or 1/3, which is 33.33%, but let's, argument's sake, round this shit down. Let's say you want 30 of your calories to be protein. That means if you have 1,500 calories, divide that by 3, 500, 500, and 500, you want to have 500 of your calories to be protein. Boom, that leaves you 1,000 calories. That leaves 2/3 of your caloric intake to carbs and fats. So protein can be anything. People tend to not at times understand what protein is. Protein is obviously animal products like beef, chicken, pork, seafood, fish. Fish goes in there. Yeah, that's the main ones. Then you've got things like eggs, dairy, milk, cheese. And then you've got vegetarian proteins like beans, quinoa, and what other ones are there? Tofu, tempeh. And then you've got things like protein powder, protein water. Like there's so many types of proteins. Undereating on protein is a sin. Do not undereat the protein. You need to eat enough protein. You don't have to eat fucking chicken every single meal. You're gonna get sick of it. Any of those proteins I said are fine. Use all of them if you want. Just eat the protein in each meal. That means you're not gonna have chicken for breakfast. You might have cereal with some protein shake, or you might have a protein smoothie, or you might have fucking eggs. Like there's many ways to have protein for breakfast. Lunch, obviously easy. Dinner, protein, pretty easy again. So protein in each meal, you have to have it. So 500 calories is gonna be protein. 1,000 calories is gonna be carbs and fats. But Josh, how much carbs, how much fat? It doesn't fucking matter. Honestly, it doesn't. If you eat the 1,500 calories, you're gonna be in a calorie deficit, you're gonna lose body fat. You can't overeat carbs or overeat fats if you stay within the 1,000. If you eat 1,500 of carbs and protein, now we're 500 over, it's 2,000. So if you're having left 1,000 calories and just did 1,000 calories on carbs or fats, you won't go over the calories. So what kind of carbs can I have? I hear that I've got to have the simple carbs and complex carbs, white carbs, brown carbs, low GI carbs, high GI carbs. I'm telling you now, more than 1,000 clients, like testimonials and transformations, it doesn't fucking matter. You can have brown rice, cereal, white rice, sweet potato, normal potato, pasta, brown pasta. Like, seriously, go until your heart's content, eat whatever fucking carbs you want. Like, fruits are carb, vegetables are carb. Like, this is where people get really confused. I'm like, just eat any carbohydrate that you like. Easy. As long as, like, 1,000 calories of carbs and fats, go crazy. Fats are things like your oils, nuts, what else goes in there? That's mainly your oils. That's mainly your fats. Yes, there's going to be fats in things like, cheese and milk and dairy, stuff like that, but we're not going to complicate it. Oils and nuts is mainly going to be your fats. Butters, things like that, which people don't have like 1,000 calories of anyway. So 1,500 calories, 1/3 of it's protein, 2/3 of it is carbs and fats. You can actually get really creative and flexible with that. Like carbs could be also like things like chocolates and sweets and desserts. Cool. If it fits the calories, have it in there. Would I have it every day? Probably not. Being an adult, don't eat like an asshole. You're trying to lose weight at the end of the day. So remember, it's going to require some sort of sacrifice, but that is how much to eat, when to eat, and what to eat. It doesn't have to be a complicated process. If you're still like, oh my God, I really need help with this, or it's the consistency that gets you undone, it's like, well, yeah, this information is good, and I could go good for a couple of days, 3 days, or 5 days, and then hit the weekend and blow out, and have to start again Monday, and I lost a kilo, and then gained a kilo, and you do that for fucking 6 months, and you're fucking it up by yourself. Yes, coaching is probably for you. Just temporarily learn these skills. That is what we do in the VIP program. We do all this for you. We work out the calories, when to eat, how much to eat for your lifestyle, with your budget, with the foods that you like and the foods that you don't like, the foods that the kids like, the fussy eaters, and we do it all. Meal plans, recipe walks, grocery lists, you name it, that is what we do. So if you're like, man, I just want to fast track my results and have the consistency with the accountability, then apply for the program. That's why I do the podcast, to pump up the program. Very easy, the VIP Transformation Program. You can jump on my Instagram or my Facebook, send me a message. Hey, heard the podcast, love it, hate it. I want to find out about VIP. Or if you're super keen, fill out an application form. There's generally a link in the bios of all my socials. Hit that or jump on the website, blissbodyou.com.au, and find the application form. It'll come to us. We'll see it. We'll then book you in for a call. We'll have a chat. If we can help, cool, get you in the program. If we can't help, push on to someone else who can actually help out with what is going on. But we help 99.9% of people with what's going on. All right, ladies, lots of love. Went through a lot today. Go kick some goals. And those applying for the program, well done for taking the first step. I'm excited to meet you. I'll catch you in the next episode.